Devin McCourty. He's a three-time Super Bowl champ, former defensive back, three-time All-Pro. You can catch him on Football Night in America. It'll be the Chiefs and the Giants. They'll be at MetLife Stadium, 8:20 Eastern. Okay. Why didn't the officials call those false starts on the Eagles with the tush push?
I think it's tougher than we think. I think everybody's so zeroed in and looking to see if they're offsides or not. I mean, it's a clear miss of the play, and I think like if I'm the Chiefs, I'm pissed because to me, like you can't miss that on that play. Like everyone's been complaining about it. You can't now give them an advantage of the false start because I think if usually when the guys on defense line up offsides, that was like an emphasis last year. So obviously they'll be watching it a close call now, but when you lose in a close 3-point game last week, that letter doesn't help you at all.
Is this a must-win situation for the Chiefs against the Giants?
I think so. I think for them and to get back to feeling like yourselves and to rally, you can't fall too far behind. The Chargers are already starting 2-0. I don't like you can't go 0-3 and just keep losing and hoping that Rashee Rice gets back and hoping Worthy. Like you still got to go find a way to win. And I think their championship pedigree is going to make them feel like they have to go win this game.
Yeah, I just wonder if maybe it's right there in front of us. And maybe this is where the Chiefs aren't who we thought they were, that they're not going to win this division. Maybe they're a wild card team. How far along do you need to get before you think you got a handle on who the Chiefs are?
I mean, for them, we won't believe it until they lose in the playoffs or they don't make the like that's the
Okay.
only way because the way they've lost these first two games is the same way they won games last year. Instead of last year against the Chargers, they get the defensive stop, then Mahomes goes down and scores. This year against the Eagles, they would have got the defensive stop, and then he goes and scores. So it's the same thing. It's that close of a line in the NFL. They're not far off.
The Dolphins last night had a chance to win that game. They were going toe-to-toe with Buffalo. What are they missing?
I think the way their team is constructed, Tua has to go be that guy. And I know everybody's going to talk about the sealer penalty to extend the drive. The truth of the matter is, Buffalo goes up 7 with I think 7 minutes and 17 seconds left in the fourth quarter. Plenty of time. Miami drives right down the field, and then it comes to you throw Terrell Bernard an interception, and then they go down. Buffalo goes down, kicks a field goal with 20-something seconds left, and that's the game. And I think we're not even talking about the sealer penalty if Tua can take the team down and go score because they did. Like everyone expected their defense not to get any stops last night. They got 2 big stops in the third, a stop in the fourth quarter to try to get this team to lead. I just think, and obviously the offensive line isn't perfect. They need Tua to be the guy that we watch Buffalo and Josh Allen, that no matter how the game goes, if I get enough chances, I'll go win the game. I'll go take the game away from the other team. I think they need to start to see that from Tua.
But being a former defensive back, if you know that quarterback's not going to throw, he's not even looking downfield. Everything is, 5 yards. Maybe occasionally it's a little bit more than that if he scrambles like he did last night. But how does that affect how you play your position if you know he's not really going to challenge you down the field?
Yeah, I remember playing in games and Coach Belichick would come and tell us, like, this team's not trying to throw the ball down the field. And he would say, like, at most, I think the ball might go 40, 45 yards down the field. And if you watched last night's game, he threw one post to Tyreek Hill that probably should have been intercepted, hung in the air forever. So it tells you, be aggressive. I know they have 2 of the fastest receivers in the league, and it sounds crazy to say be aggressive, but they're not throwing the ball really deep or really outside that much. So you see Buffalo, they're packing the middle of the field and guys are aggressive coming downhill. The linebackers play a little deeper to take away that middle part. And they say, beat us checking the ball down, beat us throwing it underneath the whole time. And that's how everybody's playing them. And so far it's worked because it's led to, we're going to continue to make you play that way and hope that you make a mistake, and Tua has made those mistakes. I think it's 4 interceptions in the first 3 games.
What's it like to line up against one of the the fastest guy in the NFL? When you're out there, he's faster than you. But what is that like as a defensive back where you go, all right, it's me on an island?
You got to have a plan. I think that's the key thing. So whenever you do see, last night it was Benford a lot on Tyreek Hill. When he was up in his face, that pressure was coming. They were blitzing, they were doing different things. So as a corner, you take the mentality and have the confidence in the rest of your guys that, all right, I'm not gonna have to cover this fast dude for 8 seconds because the ball should be coming out fast. And I think that's the blend of your rush and your coverage. You got to have both. You can't chase Tyreek Hill around the field without pass rush and think you're going to have success.
Who was the guy, though, that when you're out on an island, you're like, oh, boy.
Oh, I mean, who wasn't a guy? You think about Antonio Brown in my era, Julio Jones being the top two when I was a young guy. The first time we went to Detroit on Thanksgiving and you lined up against Calvin Johnson and you got in a stance and you were like looking up at him. Like those were the times that you were like, man, mom. And you're like, mom, did I really sign up to do this? But that's the challenge and the fun of playing defensive back.
We're talking to Devin McCourty. You can see him on Football Night in America, the studio analyst, three-time Super Bowl champ with the Patriots. We were talking about baby names. Where can you name your child after a sports personality? I'm wondering in New England how many babies were named Brady.
One of my good friends, his son's 8 now, and he's a Brady. I mean, when you're walking around, you meet so many kids named Brady because Tom's just not enough. Like you can be any Tom, but that Brady first name, it's very popular in all the New England states.
You wouldn't have named your children Brady, would you?
I love Tom, but Brady wasn't coming in our house. We don't have no kids Brady.
And nobody's naming their kid Belichick.
Yeah, I'm not seeing that. Maybe there's some Bills out there though. William and they call him Bill out there.
The Rams-Eagles game is interesting because I don't know if we've seen the best the Eagles have. But I think the Rams are so dangerous, and, well, we saw that last year in this game, that they might have won that game if it was a little bit longer, but obviously it wasn't. But handicap that game here. What do you expect to happen in this rematch?
I think the biggest thing, I think the Rams are itching at this rematch because if you remember in that playoff game, Saquon Barkley had like 2 runs that were huge runs that made up all of those yards. And I hate saying this because every football game goes that way, but I'm sure they're sitting there saying, if we just don't give up those 2 plays in the running game, we successfully go out there and we kind of slow down Saquon Barkley. So I think that's a big part. Like everybody knows when the Rams can get in passing situations, you don't want to go against that defensive front. But I think the key thing for the Eagles is I think they're going to have to get the passing game going. I think the Rams, even more than last year, are going to devote so many people to stopping Saquon Barkley because even though we say only 2 plays, that's the danger of Saquon Barkley, that on any given play, he can go to distance. So I think they're really going to say, you know what? Don't hold the disguise as long. Don't do this just get down there, stop them. And I think that's going to force the Eagles to use and open up this passing game. And so far, that's yet to be seen how the passing game is really going to look this year. We know they have the players, but like, is there a confidence level to go out there and execute the passing game at a high level? Because eventually I see Stafford and Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. I see them starting to be able to make some plays in this game. We saw week 1 opposite Quinion Mitchell is a little bit of an issue. And with 2 guys that they have with Stafford throwing the ball, I think that can create some problems.
Are you all in on the Chargers?
I've liked what I've seen from the Chargers. I really do. I think, we had the Hall of Fame game this year, and we all sat around the desk talking Justin Herbert. And my whole thing was I was tired of hearing about his talent and everything he could do. It was time to actually see it done. And I think in these first 2 weeks, they've answered the bell. They've come and they've showed they can dominate a game. They can win different ways. It's not just a running game. It's drop back pass. It's everything. So I think they're for real this year.
If I said you had to face Herbert, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, who do you want to face out of that group?
Who do I want to face? I would pick Herbert. I would pick the Chargers and playing against Herbert. I'm not picking the other 2 guys you might as well not even say them. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson. We're not even signing up for that. But I think the Eagles are defending champs with Jalen Hurts. He plays his best games in the biggest moments. Yeah. And I give a ton of credit to that. That's how I came into the league and grew up in the league, was Belichick telling us your best players have to be their best in the biggest games, and Hurst has been that.
Good to talk to you again. Have a fun weekend. Thank you again, Devin.
No problem. Good to see you, Dan.
That's Devin McCourty, three-time Super Bowl champ with the Patriots and Football Night in America. It'll be the Chiefs and the Giants.